Before you could even tie your own shoes, you learned how to carry the weight of someone else's world. It wasn't a choice. It was just the air you breathed, the silence you learned to fill, the chaos you learned to manage. You were the old soul, the responsible one, the junior partner in running a household that should have been busy raising you. The world looked at you and saw a child wise beyond their years. They praised a strength that was silently breaking you. They admired an independence that was born from necessity, not from choice. But that maturity, it was a costume, and underneath it was a child learning a dangerous lesson, that their worth was tied to how useful they were, and that their own feelings were a luxury they just couldn't afford. This is for the part of you that's still that child, the one who grew up way too fast. We're going to explore the hidden psychological scars you carry, from that constant humming anxiety to a lifelong struggle with who you really are. And together, we'll uncover the path to finally, gently, coming home to yourself. If you grew up too fast, you probably don't think of your childhood as traumatic. You just think of it as, well, the way things were. Your ability to handle a crisis, to be the calm in the storm, to take care of everyone else. These weren't seen as symptoms. They were your defining features. What you called maturity was actually hypervigilance. What you called independence was a deep-seated struggle to trust others. And what you called strength was the heavy armor you were forced to build, piece by piece, until you forgot you were even wearing it. That armor, which was once a tool for survival, has now become a cage, and it shows up in your adult life in ways that are just deeply exhausting. It shows up as a constant low-grade anxiety, that feeling that if you relax, even for a second, everything will fall apart. This isn't just a thought, it's a physical state. Your nervous system got wired for threat detection in childhood, and it never got the memo that the war is over. So you live on high alert, scanning rooms, conversations, and relationships for the slightest sign of danger. This is why you're so tired all the time. It's not laziness. It's the exhaustion of a soldier who's been on watch for decades and can't stand down. This armor also shows up as a gut-level compulsion to please others. You learned early on that your value depended entirely on what you could provide. Love was something you earned through caregiving. As an adult, this turns into an almost compulsive inability to say no. You're the friend who always helps out, the employee who takes on extra work, the partner who sacrifices their own needs just to keep the peace. The very thought of prioritizing yourself can trigger massive guilt because you learned your needs were an inconvenience, a threat to the fragile stability you were trying to maintain. You became an expert at reading everyone else's needs, but a total stranger to your own. And finally, that armor shows up as a paralyzing fear of failure. When you're the one holding everything together, there's no room for mistakes. Every error feels catastrophic. This often morphs into a relentless perfectionism, where your self-worth is changed to your performance. You might feel guilty when you try to rest, believing you should always be productive. The drive that everyone once praised as ambition now feels like a prison, stopping you from ever feeling truly satisfied or at peace. But why? Why does a child step into a role that was never meant for them? The answer is a phenomenon psychologists call parentification. This isn't just about doing chores. Parentification is a complete role reversal where a child is forced to take on the emotional or practical jobs of a parent. This happens when a parent is emotionally checked out, struggling with their own mental health, addiction, or is just completely overwhelmed by life. The child, in their deep biological need for a secure connection, does the only thing they can. They become the caretaker. They become the emotional support for a parent who can't cope. They become the mediator in family fights, the keeper of secrets, the little adult who never complains because they know no one has the energy to listen. They become a translator for silences, a manager of moods, a tiny firefighter in a house that's always smoldering. And what starts as a coping mechanism becomes a core part of your personality. The world praises your responsibility, not realizing that this responsibility is slowly erasing your sense of self. You learn to define yourself by what you do for others. Your identity becomes a mirror, just reflecting back the needs of everyone around you. And this leaves you with a profound and terrifying question in adulthood. Who am I when no one needs anything from me? The silence that follows that question is the loneliest sound in the world. On a brain level, this early stress has a lasting impact. During its most critical years of development, your brain learned that the world is an unsafe place. It prioritized building pathways for threat assessment and emotional suppression over those for play and exploration. You didn't learn how to regulate your own emotion. You learned how to manage everyone else's. You became detached from your own feelings, because feeling them was a luxury, or worse, a danger. Sadness might get you dismissed, and anger might start a fight. So you just learned to turn the volume down on your inner world until you could barely hear it at all. This emotional neglect is just as damaging as any other form of abuse. It's an invisible wound, a lack of something essential that leaves you feeling like a key piece of you is missing. Growing up too fast doesn't just shape your inner world. It fundamentally breaks the compass you use to navigate your life, especially your relationships. Intimacy becomes a paradox. On one hand, you crave a deep connection, a place where you can finally be seen and cared for. But on the other, real vulnerability feels terrifying. You built a fortress of self-reliance, and letting someone inside feels like giving up the only safety you've ever known. You might even find yourself unconsciously drawn to partners who need fixing, because the role of caretaker is the only one you know how to play. It lets you feel close to someone without ever having to reveal your own needs. Your boundaries are often blurry, or maybe they're just not there at all. Since you were trained to absorb the emotions and responsibilities of others, you struggle to know where you end and another person begins. Saying no can feel like an act of aggression or selfishness, because your primary function was always to say yes. This leaves you wide open to being taken advantage of, and it fuels a cycle of burnout and resentment. This warped upbringing also distorts your sense of self-worth. You might bounce between an inflated sense of responsibility, feeling like you're personally to blame for everyone's worth, happiness, and a deep, gnawing feeling of being inadequate. You believe your worth is something you have to earn over and over again. This is the heavy price of the armor you wear. People see your composure, but not the chronic fatigue underneath it. They see your capability, but not the loneliness of being the one who can never, ever fall apart. You became an expert at surviving, but a beginner at just living. If this story feels like your own, please know you are not alone. It can be a profoundly isolating experience, but it doesn't have to be. This channel is a space for those of us on this journey. Consider subscribing to join a community dedicated to understanding these patterns and finding a path toward healing. And in the comments below, if you feel comfortable, share one thing you were praised for as a child that you now realize was a burden. Your story might be the validation someone else has been waiting a lifetime to hear. So, where do you go from here? The journey to heal from growing up too fast isn't about erasing your past or trying to fix what's broken. You are not broken. You are a survivor. Healing, then, isn't about becoming a different person. It's about gently and compassionately bringing together the child you were with the adult you are. The first and most critical step is acknowledgement. You have to give the experience a name. It wasn't just being mature. It was parentification. It was emotional neglect, your anxiety, your exhaustion, your fear of intimacy. These are not character flaws. They are the logical, predictable results of an impossible childhood. You have to let yourself grieve for the childhood you never had, the one that should have been filled with play and the right to be messy and imperfect. The second step is learning to reparent yourself. This means consciously giving yourself all the things you were denied. It's giving yourself permission to rest without guilt. It's permission to have needs and to actually voice them. It's permission to not have all the answers. It involves learning to listen to that quiet inner voice you were taught to ignore. When you feel that old anxiety creeping in, you can learn to ask, what does the child in me need right now? Often, the answer is simple: reassurance, a moment of quiet, or the comfort of knowing they are finally safe. The third step is reclaiming your identity. This is a journey of pure discovery. For so long, you've been defined by your roles: the caretaker, the peacemaker, the responsible one. Now is the time to ask, what do I want? What brings me joy? What do I believe? This can feel strange and disorienting at first. It means slowly peeling back the layers of obligation to find the authentic you that's been buried underneath. It means trading the temporary validation of being needed for the profound, quiet peace of just being yourself. The skills you learned in order to survive are not weaknesses. That hypervigilance that now causes your anxiety can be transformed into powerful intuition. The sense of responsibility that burdened you can become a capacity for leadership, now chosen on your own terms. And the profound empathy you developed for others can finally be turned inward. The child who grew up too fast never really goes away. The goal is not to silence them or to get rid of them. The goal is to finally turn to them, take their hand, and let them come home.